Well, hello guys, welcome back. So, something really quick today. It's a beautiful day. It's in the 60s. It's almost in the 70s. But it's like a cold 60s. I went out and I'm like, "Ooh." So, yeah, so I'm not outside, but it's beautiful. It's in the 60s. So, a really quick thing about keeping faith with the gods. Um I had some individuals, not Loki or Odin, promise me the moon and back last night. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, no, no, no. Have faith. Have faith. It's coming. It's coming tomorrow. I'm like, you can't work like that. I know from common. No, no, have faith. I get up. None of it's here. And I'm like, okay. I knew this wouldn't happen, but have faith. And I was disappointed. And I pointed it out a couple times. I was hurt because I felt it was like a breach of trust. I felt it was like breach of trust. But I had promised in the main mansion that I would make a little temple area for a certain individual. And even though they didn't come through with their promises, obviously, they have one. And it's really beautiful, and I worked to make it as beautiful as possible. And I said, I'm sorry, not like super creative and we're down to what we have, but I said, this is for you. I'm following through. And then after, I was in VR. First it wouldn't work, then I could get into the home. So now if I go back, it probably won't work again. But I said, they got surprised. And I said, well, it's important to keep your word. I gave you a promise. I said, yeah, Odin had vacated that because Oski now has his own mansion. Do you see where they're going with this? Thor has a mansion, Oski has a mansion, Loki has a mansion. I think Hermes is allowed in there, and you can feel this little bratty prankster energy in that one. So Freya and Freyr have a mansion, and I like theirs because you can really feel their energy in there. And Oculus goes above and beyond to keep everything as dry and drab as wallpaper. You know what I mean? It's about that exciting, but those two are very creative. And if you walked in there, it's all of our standard stuff, you know. But Freyr was giggling because pigs are a sign of fertility and abundant sexuality and all this other stuff in some cultures, and rabbits too. And when you blow them up, they look exactly like the Playboy mascot. So they're giggling and snickering. And Freya figured something out. We have these throw pillows we can like blow up a little bit. She got the first bed. Of course she did. And we were laughing, and we were like almost, metaphorically speaking, leaning on each other because we were laughing so hard because she got the first bed, and we're like, because the physics, if you touch these pillows, they pop up in the air, and we were just like, so we were having fun. So, they're getting their temples. Somebody got a room, even though they didn't come through. And I said, look, I will keep faith on my promises. And they were actually interested because they're more. Mammon's the one that takes over for a lot of stuff. And he's like, breach of contract, blah, blah, blah. And I don't have a business mind. What business mind I had went away. And I said, yeah, but I'm going to still keep faith. I said, I have my own integrity. It's not based on yours or the individual who didn't come through on the promise. I said, I have my own integrity. Might have been breach of verbal contract. Yeah, and I'm disappointed, certainly. I said, but I have integrity, damn it, and I promised that thing, and I'm going to come through on it. He just kind of looked at me. And that's kind of the thing. Sometimes we have to keep faith with the gods, guys, because sometimes Loki or Odin or whomever will say, oh, hey, I want this thing, and I'm going to give you this thing. Not all the time, but sometimes they do. And sometimes they promise you the moon and back, and if it's Loki or Odin, you should probably try to get it right. I got, hey! And get it notarized. I got, hey! But sometimes they don't come through. You're left with your end of the deal, whatever they wanted, and you have to make a judgment call. And in this case, it felt right. In this case, it felt like, yeah, you can have what I promised you. I knew you were logically. I knew you were coming through, anyways. I tried to have belief last night. I really did. Got into that belief state. Got up, and I was like, mm-hmm. And so sometimes you have to follow through on your promises. It's not a moral obligation or a thing of doing what's right by you, but you have to have your own ethical standards and follow through on them. And that's what I did. Sometimes, of course, it isn't right to give them what they ask for when they don't follow through on a promise, because there are some that will take chronic advantage. That if they do that and they just keep getting stuff, and you realize after a while that you've got this pattern of getting promises, giving them offerings, and not getting anything in return, and getting it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, then you have to say, okay, you don't get any more stuffs. I love you, but you don't get any more stuffs until you actually do something, because here's the list of the 12 things you promised, here's the list of the 12 things you got. You don't have to keep a list, but you know what I mean. And I don't got none of it, but you got all of it. So yeah. And so they're all kind of like quiet, and they're all kind of looking around those mansions with really big eyes. It's a beautiful day. We have a high wind advisory until about like 1 o'clock, but so that might explain why it actually feels pretty cold out there, because the ground's wet and damp. But it's a beautiful day. It's almost 70s, and then like 3 or 4 days from now, it's going to be in the 40s and be at 20s at night. So we're trying to enjoy it. We're trying to enjoy the sun. The sun, every so often, is trying to come out. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.